Red Devils podcast. I'm John.
I'm Alex.
And we're bringing you the best Manchester United news from this side of the pond.
Woo, sir. How we doing? How we doing? We are back in the bunker, both American Red Devils, breaking down Manchester United, sir. They drew the big Blues from South London, North London, East London, West London, wherever Chelsea is. We got a point. Probably didn't deserve it. Big shout out from Ronaldo. Just ageless, unbelievable performance all around the pitch. Great goal. Great tracking back, showing how it should be done, leading from the front. If we had that work rate across all 11 players in the field, I think we would have gotten 3 points today. De Gea as well had a bunch of big saves, especially in the first half, keeping us in it. Probably been the players of the season, De Gea and Ronaldo, the elder statesman, sir. But I'll tell you what, a lot of those players walking around the pitch aren't fit to wear that kit, sir. How you feeling?
Look, what are what's the record in our past few games here? Lose to Arsenal, lose big to the Scouse Bastards. Chelsea obviously playing decent, although they are a frozen asset under the sanctions for Roman Abramovich, but they are still playing decent, and we get a point at home. So as far as home fans are concerned, it could have been worse. Could have been much worse. First half, Chelsea, thank God they got Werner, Lukaku, and Kai Havertz up there because they couldn't finish anything. They had tons of opportunities. Reece James, a bunch of shots as well. I thought it was a little bit, had the vibe of a not quite testimonial, but in the World Cup in the last game of the group when both teams kind of want to draw because they're pretty much getting into the next round, I kind of had that vibe. Not a lot to play for Chelsea. Not really a lot to play for United, actually more to play for United, but just didn't really have too much of that whole effort behind the match. So as a fan, you could be frustrated. You didn't quite see a lot of those players running. You didn't see that dogged United-Chelsea performance, that match we've seen and gotten used to over the years. This is sort of like two clubs kind of mailing it in, get the golf clubs out, let's go golfing, let's go to the beach. That kind of is where most of Manchester United is.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're giving a discredit to Chelsea, and I never say that, but they looked up for it in the first half. They had a tons of opportunities. Arguably should have got up a couple goals in front of us.
Big Chelsea fan. Big Chelsea fan over here.
Like it is. I'm not saying
Chelsea guy.
They didn't call it in. We certainly called it in, and not even all the players on the United side of the ball called it in because Ronaldo didn't call shit in. He was running all day. And honestly, put shame to Marcus Rashford. Like, who the hell is Marcus Rashford? Looks a shell of who he was.
Before. I've heard this pod before.
Sir, every pod this season is effectively the same pod. I mean, this season has been a goddamn write-off.
It's like
all of us
taking Rashford to the shed. Like, this guy gets an award.
He was terrible. He was terrible, okay. But a lot of players are terrible. But I'm not going to
Newsflash.
Newsflash. You're back on the pod. We have to work and not interrupt each other.
Let's go.
I'm just letting you know. Chill out. Let me get my point across. The point across is the Chelsea looked up for it. They should have gotten their goals. We kind of got back into it. They got their goal. Ronaldo answered, but ultimately...
Big Chelsea fan over here.
Sir, I'm a fan of Manchester United, and I know this team ain't worth the kit they're wearing because most of them are not up for it. It's an Ed Woodward team. It's a Glazer team, and that's what you're looking at. You're looking at years of neglect, years of players
We drew
being more
1-1.
important. We shouldn't have drawn.
Chelsea are better.
Sir, but this
we
season's
have
a
been
wrap.
so okay. Let's
drew. We've drawn the last
the players have been criticized into oblivion. We know Rashford's
I was
bad.
going for the board.
We know the players aren't bad. We know the whole thing. Rangnick doesn't want to be there. The players don't want to be there. Half of the locker room is leaving, and we got a surprise draw, a great goal from Cristiano Ronaldo. It isn't great. But what can we expect? We've been seeing this slide happen, and a draw has to have beat our expectations coming in this game. This should have been 3-1, 4-1. Like everything else, we get a point. And that point could help us get Europa League because we don't want Europa Conference League.
That's true.
And that's what we're fighting for at the moment, given how the FA Cup final is shaping up. You got 5th and 6th is going to be Europa League. 7th is going to be Conference League, so we need to get that 6th spot. And we're fighting with Wolves and West Ham. However you like it, this point matters. We got it. Wasn't pretty. Sometime you got to take the result. And this is a shit season. We've been eating shit burgers all day, every day.
24/7. 24 extra.
And
no salt.
you have to say that there was a bad performance from a lot of players, but our man Ronaldo and De Gea are both our players of the season, made the difference. We got a point, and that point can matter big time as far as doing Europa League versus conference. That's the takeaway, sir. So criticize the board, please.
I'd be happy to. I mean, I don't know how much time we have in order for me to go down that rabbit hole. I want to save it for the news in relation to the Ralf Rangnick rumor around the Austria job, sir. Stick a fork in this season. I think everybody's ready for it to be done. I don't disagree with you. I'll take a point. I'm not arguing against that. I'm just saying this is a season of frustrations because it hasn't been up to par. It's shown the neglect by the board, mainly around like the dragging of the feet on the decisions, how long it took to actually fire Ole. It's done 5 weeks too late. You bring in a guy who's really better at building clubs from the top down and bring him as your manager. You don't really listen to him after everything we're hearing. And now the piece de resistance, sir, is they're basically pushing Ralphie out the door, and like he's going to go and basically take the Austria job full up because, dude, they don't value having him around. At the end of the day, they value Darren Fletcher and John Murtaugh. And Richard Arnold, his job is safe. But John Murtaugh, bro, like, how does he have the job over Ralf Rangnick? If this club had any sense, I know he's throwing fastballs right at the board, at the players, talking shit. Not even talking shit. He's just shooting it straight. And this level of honesty is not something that Manchester United's front office is used to seeing or even can accommodate because they're spin zone all day. They are just spinning the earnings calls, spinning investments, spinning their decisions. And they can't handle someone like Ralph shooting it straight. So he will be pushed out. And
of course.
He will be pushed out. And Erik ten Hag will find the fate of all the managers that came before him other than Sir Alex Ferguson.
Okay.
Because, dude, he's destined to fail. So
just relax. Calm down.
Sure.
Everyone
Raise on the wall.
Raise
on the wall.
Alex, there's been a long season.
Tell me about it. We were supposed to be
see
at
the
this
commercial?
game. We could have been
I
at
know.
this game. We could have been in the Lowry with
I feel
swollen
like,
feet.
This is the pod therapy. This is the true pod therapy. Alex has been through it's been a rough year, buddy. I know it's been a rough year. It's been a rough season. You're upset. But at the end of the day, it's about trying to get Europa League at the moment. And this is a big point. Like, you're right. This team should have lost today. And Ronaldo, our talisman, going for 20 goals hopefully this season, tied for second.
Ridiculous.
For goals in the league. I mean, of all the bright spots for United, Ronaldo continues to deliver for us. And it's important for Ten Hag to play Europa League versus Europa Conference. And you're right. As far as Rangnick and Ten Hag, the chips are going to fall. And from the board's perspective, from the spin zone, we've been calling out the spin all the way through.
Since day one.
Talk is cheap here from Manchester United. Paul Mitchell, ooh, that's exciting. Prove it. 10 players leaving. The only thing I can think of is how are we going to get players in? And then I'm looking at Murtaugh and Judge. And everyone's talking about how everything's changing at United and Rangnick's going to be this great consultant and Ten Hag's going to take over and Paul Mitchell's going to come in and save the day. And at the end, as far as I'm concerned, talk is cheap. You got to show me on the field. It's going to take a while to get this right, and words ain't going to do it. And the press spin and everything isn't going to help. So I'm going to sit back, relax, enjoy the rest of this season, and then hope for next year to be a little better because I like what I see with Ten Hag, and he might be handcuffed by the board or whatever. But at the end of the day, I'm sure a lot of this stuff that we saw this season wouldn't fly under him. There'd be some players training with the U23s, and that's the way it should be. So regardless of all the politics above him, I do like the man, and let's just hope for the best. But you're right. There's dark clouds over Old Trafford at the minute, and that's just the way it is. Quick PSA for the podcast. If you like the American Red Devils, you want to support this small-time operation, check out our Discord channel. We have some amazing fan Muppets on our Discord chat. We have over 600 members. We talk during match day. It is a riot. It has been the bright spot in a dark season for Manchester United. Lots going on. We even had a Liverpool troll drop in the chat today. We had to kick him out because he wasn't acting too savory, sir, as a Scouse bastard would. You would expect it. But if you want to chat with us, we have an invite on our website, www.americaredevils.com, or pinned on our Twitter profile. Click on it. You jump into the chat. Meet some Muppets like yourself. Also, check out our Patreon page. We don't have any sponsorships on this podcast. It's the best way to support us directly. We are for fans, by fans. that's the route we're taking. You want to support us, you want to be a fan, to step up and help this small-time operation, please do. Big shout-out to Jeremy Cannon, as well as, I got this here, Joseph Cruz for stepping up, becoming Patreon members this month. Thank you, guys. You guys are the real MVPs. If you want to support us, check out our Patreon page. Like I mentioned, we do a behind-the-scenes episode every month, giving away pin stickers, scarf shirts, you name it. Also, we have a website, amazing blog, Alex, editor-in-chief. Please check it out. For fans, by fans. That's what it's all about. Also, click on story of some amazing merch. Alex, tell them about iTunes reviews.
iTunes reviews or 5-star reviews, the American Red Devils, wherever you do listen to the American Red Devils podcast, whether it be on iTunes or Spotify or the like, is a great way to support the pod. And even better, we're giving away free American Red Devils merch anywhere in the world. I swear to you. Anywhere that takes mighty old postage to the far reaches of the globe, we will send you free merch, especially if you write a 5-star review like HDA1221 did. 5 stars right off the season, but not this pod. You know the content is good when I've stopped watching the games, but still foam at the mouth waiting for the pod to drop. Nothing but the best Manchester United news, the good, the bad, the ugly from the 2 regular dudes not on the Glazer payroll. I'll say that again. I haven't found another pod or group of hosts as dedicated to keeping their fans informed as much as these guys, even through childbirth. Shout out to this guy. I've been listening to 4 years now. As long as the Sirs keep talking, I'll keep an American Red Devil Muppet. Thank you for the review. Thank you for all the American Red Devils out there. We couldn't do it without you, sir. It has been a painful season.
Yeah, and just hearing Alex do that read of the review is why we don't have sponsors, because imagine him doing ad reads on the podcast. That'd be a rough one here. I don't know how you guys...
Yeah. Okay, why don't you read
North
the review?
Jersey, okay.
Why don't you read the review?
So
and see how
I
fast you can-
I got one of Alex's merch envelopes here.
Oh, yeah.
He packs merch for anyone who writes a review. And the handwriting, I can't believe you guys are getting your
So
merch.
you're
'cause
going
it's so-
pronunciation, ability to read lines, and
I'm back in the bunker,
writing. This guy
baby.
throws.
Only in sex masochism. Then it is allowed.
Yeah, take it easy.
Hey.
Sex masochism.
Hey, North Jersey
Guys,
radio,
it's hot.
baby.
It's getting hot in
Hey,
this pod room.
We come from North Jersey. We're cheeky. We're going to throw some banter. I haven't been in here a while, Alex. I got to have to,
I can tell.
take a
I
few
tell you,
shots.
throwing punches. Let's
when
go.
Alex gets
Let's
heated
go.
up
Back off.
in the pod room, we get the best out of the pod. Let's go. Manchester United won. Chelsea won. Old Trafford. The lineup. Dave saves. World number 1 in net. Left back. Poor man's Tellis.
Poor man, somebody.
Poor man. Tell us how bad you are. Tell us. That's going to be the new nickname. Lindelof, Varane center back pairing, a Delo at right back, McTominay, Modric midfield. That's going to be pretty creative. Probably going to pass around a lot. Then you got Bruno in the hole, along on the left, Ronaldo up top, and Marcus. Used to be Rashford on the right. What'd you make of that lineup?
So is that Danny Welbeck up there? A lot of players missing. Rangnick talked about it, and this is what you get. Lindelof, Varane pairing. I don't think they were bad. The fullbacks were atrocious, but usually we would say that starting 11 should be good enough to beat this side.
No, but there's not a lot of room to work.
No, there's
right?
not.
Like
So
the
given who we
injury
have
list
available,
is big.
This is probably a reasonable 11.
Yeah, I mean, it picked itself, really. There's not a lot of options here. Given Cavani, nowhere to be seen. Paul Yagba got the injury. On the chat, off the chat, loves United, hates United. Hard to say. Riola's dead. He's not. He's back, baby. He heard that Holland. He heard if you die, you don't get those agents fees. He's like, I'm back. Give me those things.
Can't take it with you.
I'm going to get that big payout there. Let's get into the first half. All Chelsea opening the game. 19th minute. Conte with a shot right at the keeper. Great opportunity. United defending. Schoolboy stuff here. Thank God it was Conte who had this opportunity, because this was wide open. Chelsea, it wasn't so horrible, but then just the positioning, simple things United just can't do here.
No, and it wasn't Liverpool bad, but we were pinned back. We just looked so disorganized. We couldn't clear the ball. When we did get the ball, half the team was running up the field. Half the team didn't know what they were doing. We just seemed like we're all out of sorts.
Absolutely. 22nd minute, De Gea comes out well after Rashford gives the ball away on the break. Havertz hits the side netting in the 27th minute. Tellis just absolutely beat like a dog on the right hand side. Havertz having his way with Tellis. Absolute liability. What happened to your boy, Tellis?
Sir, we need 4 new fullbacks. You know, like the low conceded the goal, arguably. Neither of them really.
No,
can
but
defend.
Telles is like if you watch some of the highlights he's had,
I'm not gonna
including the
defend him.
Pookie goal at Norwich, he is not doing his job. Like we're talking jogging back, out of position, not switched on, and he's a player who should be earning it. Obviously, I mean, this is a spot he can earn. And he's just like an absolute liability. 28th minute, Dave save. Huge save on Havertz. De Gea coming up big for United again. 30th minute, Chelsea with a chance for a tap-in. Again, we're hanging on here. Chelsea really had a few opportunities here. They could not convert. And then 36th minute, another big save from David De Gea. Point blank. Keeping us in the game. That was the first half. United kind of snoozing here. Boring stuff. The amount of iced coffee I have to drink to get through these games is insane. How boring it is.
I mean, it was boring from our side. We created nothing going forward. I think we had one half chance.
Chelsea
like
wasn't
Bruno. Yes, they were much better, sir. They
were better than
saves.
us.
That could have been a goal. Havertz side net could have been a goal. The one where there was a tap in, if there was a competent striker up front, should have been a
Chelsea pod, you know?
Sir, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? I'm calling it straight, and like they were much better than us in the first half.
I'm just saying.
Should have had a couple
I
goals.
know, but that's the Muppet in me.
You're being too Muppet, saying like, of course they were shit. They're always shit.
No, they weren't.
All of our rivals are always shit.
It wasn't like they were Liverpool good.
No, they weren't. But they lacked us.
They lacked the clinicality. They lacked the clinicality, and you got Mason Mount, you got Werner. Like it was a lot of the ball,
Champions League winner, sir.
A lot of balls fizzing by, in front of the box, and then some.
If you look at how much possession there was, how many chances on target, it was
they were better. They were a better side.
First half, sir.
They were a better side.
I hate Chelsea, sir. You know I hate Chelsea, but I'm just saying we did not play well in the first half, and we're lucky to be even going into halftime.
I would say that is a fair assessment. Second half, 53rd minute, Werner nearly has a tap in, and then obviously we're going to get to it here. We all knew that this was coming here, unfortunately.
Cross. It's going to fall here to Alonso on his left foot, and he doesn't miss from there. One of the deadliest defenders in the opposition penalty area. Marcus Alonso opens the scoring, and it's been coming for 59.5 minutes. Manchester United 0, Chelsea 1.
You just have to look at, the celebrating Chelsea fans, the relief at all those wasted opportunities. One has finally been converted, but then in complete contrast, the reaction of the Manchester United players. They look absolutely defeated the second that ball hit the back of the net. It was a tremendous finish. Chelsea again working the ball well, getting the ball out wide, and another excellent delivery by Reece James.
I thought Reece James was really the playmaker for Chelsea. The him v Telles matchup punished us, and this great cross, great finish from Alonso, and Delo unmarked him. Like the simple switch.
How many times have you seen that?
Right, I mean, yeah, it's not professional. Honestly, you sell Delo when we play them in the Europa League, and like for AC Milan scored, and he's like celebrating like extra hard with AC Milan. Get rid of the player. I mean that's a duh. Like,
you could slate Telles all day because he was rubbish. But like, how many times have we seen Delo give up a goal like that, give up a chance like that? He's one of the worst. He's one of the worst defensive right backs in the league. I mean, like that. Like I said, we need 4 new fullbacks, and that's just a start. Because
we're not going to get them, by the way.
Okay, we're not going to get a lot this summer. It's going to be barren. Here's the real thing. You know what's barren is listening to Graham Lasso for 90 minutes because I was on Universo. Holy shit. How do you listen to that? How'd you do it? I can't believe you left it on. I kept going like Graham talking about what?
I had my mom's in town. My baby girl was sleeping on me during the game, so the volume was turned down.
Yeah, lucky you.
Lucky us, 62nd minute. I mean, you talk about legends. And then there's like saints. Ronaldo is becoming a saint. He has sainthood at Manchester United, saving us in this game, saving us in this season. Let's go CR7.
Second attempt, it bounced off Conte. Chance here to equalise, and guess who takes it? Cristiano Ronaldo out of absolutely nothing. Nemanja Matic was persistent. Got a little fortunate with the ricochet of N'Golo Conte, but it's 8 in 5 for Cristiano Ronaldo, and we are level.
Absolutely remarkable. As I said, the reaction when they went behind Manchester United looked like they just conceded the 5th goal, not the first, but the reaction's fantastic. Nemanja Matic there, winning the ball back after his pass. He's onside Ronaldo, brilliantly timed run, excellent pass. What a touch that is. And the finish is exquisite.
What a hit. And this says a lot about the game where Matic's pass off of Conte looks like nobody wants to go for the ball. Matic follows up, gets the pass to Ronaldo. Unbelievable finish. Just the touch to set it up. Lethal CR7. I mean, this is to me a good goal and a good for us not to concede 2 after this. Like, I mean, come on. It's been so horrible. It didn't look great, but to get a point out of this game after you get absolutely dusted by Arsenal, obviously some shitty refereeing there, but a good point.
A good goal. Definitely a good point because arguably it wasn't deserved, but
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I'll take it all day. Ronaldo showing his class once again. Matic, 34-year-old, like outrunning players that are 10 years younger than him. Jesus Christ. I'm not going to call him out again by name, but I will later. And it's a shame, dude, like the fact that he is working that hard, one of the best midfielders we have in the team, and he's on the way out is a real shame. But Ronaldo with a great goal, showing his class once again. And this sub, check out these double subs, bro. Can you believe Mata and Jones came on?
Mata and Jones for Matic and Rashford. And then 80th minute, James hits the post. I mean, this was curler. This should have been it.
But what a terrible giveaway from McTominay. That was atrocious.
Look, rough all around. Then Garancho, he has the debut in the 90th minute for Elanga. That was it, 1-1. As a United fan, given how bad the season is and how bad of a run, I have to say, like, look, didn't deserve it, got a point, could matter. That's a plus of all the things that we could be pumped about this season. Like, that is a decent point for Manchester United at the moment, given how bad we have been.
Absolutely. A team that is playing better than us, arguably is better than us, and we were able to come by with a point. Also just end the stem of negativity. Give me the stats. Stem of negativity after so long. I'll take it. Good goal from Ronaldo. Do whatever you can to keep that man around, and Eric Ten Hag should be building at least next year's future around CR7.
Absolutely. Possession, Chelsea 65% to our 35%. Shots on target 6-3. So, you know, that is about right. We played off of the ball. You can see that from minute 1. That's how United wanted to play. We wanted to try to counter them. Didn't necessarily work out that way, and we get a goal from nothing. How many Ronaldo goals are scored from nothing?
True.
And Roy Keane comment after the game, he gets 0 service from Manchester United. It is still scoring 17 goals in the Premier League, which is absolutely insane. I mean, his ability to just continue on despite personal tragedy off the pitch, despite absolutely the whole dressing room crumbling around him. Ronaldo comes on the pitch with that new, I'm going to say, mint skin fade haircut. So I might have to get when we go to London. And just coming on and just doing it right. And like, what a finish. What a finish. What a goal. What a player. I mean, I have to look for something to be happy about as a Manchester United fan. There's not a lot. Otherwise, it's all whinging and telling you how bad Marcus Rashford is, which we know, dude. We know. We're going to have to watch it 3 more games. Let's just let's acceptance.
Without
accept
slating number 10. Let's just say like Ronaldo continues to be an inspiration for the fans, for some of these young players to look up to, the ones that have spoken. I want to shout out to Elanga, right? Like Elanga dip in form, but he recognizes that Ronaldo is an unbelievable role model on and off the pitch. Mental fortitude, like you said, what he went through, hell and Baxter in the last 10 days, and goes on. 2 great performances in a row, just showing his class. Dude, and he fucking tracked back the entire game, sir. Work rate, unbelievable. Rashford, sir, he didn't run. You got to slate for that. I'm rooting for him. He's going to have a resurgence under Eric Ten Hag, but that was unbelievable, sir.
It was like
unbelievable.
It was that Paddy Power came out with the ad, which was the mental well-being for Manchester United fans.
Terrible, basically.
And they all go there and they have to watch videos of like how bad we are, and like we have to be like, it's not the 1990s. We're not good anymore. Like, I'm already there. I went to that orientation.
I know.
We're bad. So when we tie Chelsea after playing horrible and Ronaldo scores a goal, like, that's a good thing. You know, I'm already in the Marcus Rashford is horrible. We are playing Juan Mata and Phil Jones, and this is just where we are at. And we're in 6th place in the table, 55 points, and we're fighting for 6th. And that's what we need to accept and hope for, because there's some games to play, and they are going to matter. You'll go down the table. West Ham, 34 games. They have 1 in hand against us, 52 points. If they win that, they're tied on 55. And oh, by the way, they got us on goal differential because we've been getting smoked lately. They have 8 to our 2. Wolves, 2 games in hand on 49 points. They win both of those. They're tied with us. And oh, by the way, they got us on goal differential. So we are fighting for Europa League. Europa Conference League is a possibility, and also 8th is a possibility. So we just got to just look a little farther down the table, and then here we go. We have something to play for. Let's go.
Is 6th the new 8th? Is that what you're trying to say? We used to be a top 4 club. Now we're a top 6 club. By the way, like Newcastle are only 12 points behind us, and now we're in the top 10. Who would have thought that would happen?
Where would we be without CR7, and where would we be without David De Gea?
We would not be in the top 10. I'll tell you that. We would
seriously,
be like, we'd be 13th place. We'd be like,
That's how
they're
bad we
bringing
are.
Fat Frank in to help save our season. Love to see Everton go down.
And you'd hope this is the bottom for United, but next season's could be a little dicey.
How's the summer going to go?
We'll get into that. Like, we have the
fire, baby.
negative.
Hot fire.
Everyone's so negative around United that you just got to start thinking about the positives. A lot of the positives are going to be thinking to next year and what we could hope for our manager. Yes, we know the headwinds with the board. Yes, we know all the drama in the locker room, but something has to give here for United. If we mess up Ten Hag and this locker room doesn't get any better, then might as well put me and Alex out there for Manchester United at the moment. As far as we did call it out because of the FA Cup, because it's Chelsea and Liverpool, the Europa League spots 5 and 6, and then 7th is Conference League, 8th is nothing. So if you're going to fail hard, get 8th.
Yeah.
I have a feeling the way this season's headed is we're destined for 7th.
Oh, yeah. It's happened.
For
CR7, right? CR7 was the player of the season. Finished 7th. We'll play in Kazakhstan.
Yeah, it's something we don't want. I do not want Conference League. Imagine looking forward to Hans and Franz. That's where we're at as a club, but you have to accept it. And, let's hope we can get 6th.
Let's hear from Ralph. Let's see what he has to say. Maybe he's going to spin this performance today, but let's hear from the German.
Ralph, was that a good point in the end?
Yeah, I think it was a good point. It was, as expected, a tough game, a difficult game against one of the top 3 teams. The team that won the Champions League last season, this season, they're in the FA Cup final, so they played with their almost best possible starting 11. We had quite a few players missing today. In the first half, we had problems to close down the spaces and take the ball away from them. We needed a few great saves by David and a few last second tackles. I thought in the second half we played better. We had better shape, we were more compact and could win more balls in those areas, but they still had their moments, and at one stage we also needed some luck when Reece James hit the post. But I think overall the second half performance was okay.
Given what we'd seen last week at Anfield and the Arsenal game, in a sense, was it more important not to lose tonight than it was to try and push for the win even once Ronaldo scored?
Yes, of course, we still would have wanted to win the game. I mean, with a lucky punch in the last second, we could have even won the game. But I think we have to be happy if we're honest, with that point today, because the quality of Chelsea could be seen in most parts of the game, and that's not an easy game for us tonight to play against.
I can't hear anyone talk positively about Chelsea on this pod. I'm just gonna say I can't do it.
Sir,
it's like it just
you're on the wrong pod.
It's like drinking acid, sir. It just doesn't go down. I can't. I have a visceral reaction to talking positively about that club. Chelsea. Well,
I don't think we're talking positive of the club. Saying the team played better than a shit United side. I don't think that's that controversial.
Luke, I'll tell you.
Sorry, you're rooting for Europa League.
I'll tell you what. Highlight Lukaku coming on, looking like
yeah, he
looking
like
looking like.
We got something. Laugh at that.
Hey, I'll tell you what. Edward Word, selling him for a loss is starting to look pretty good now. I rarely will compliment him. But
it's true. Masterclass right there by Eddie Woodward.
He looks like he's
225.
Sorry, I was gonna say. Backing on some pounds. Looks like he's prepping for the NFL draft. Shout out to the New York Giants. I think they did it right tonight.
Did they? Is it draft night?
It is draft night. As far as the odds for, we have the odds here for top 4. It doesn't really matter. Less than 1%. Arsenal and Tottenham fighting for it. 6th place is going to be our fight. And I'm excited. Brentford, next match coming up here. It's at home again. Monday, May 2nd, 12 p.m. Pacific. I'm loving these kickoff times. We deserve these kickoff times after this season, and the 4:30 has been absolutely rough. Games 1 versus Brentford, 7, drawn 2, lost 5. First time we ever played them, January 14th, 1928. We beat them 7-1 in the FA Cup. Wouldn't that be nice to beat them 7-1 and get that goal differential going? Last 5, we've won 4, drawn 1. Played them in the Premier League in January. We beat them 3-1. Coming into this, Brentford beat Burnley. They got done by Leicester City. They beat Chelsea 4-1. Uh-oh. They beat West Ham 2-0. Uh-oh. They beat Watford 2-1. They are rolling. Then they drew Tottenham Hotspur. They look to have a bit of form coming against Manchester United. Not much to play for them. Their nickname is the Bees. They were founded in 1889. They play home matches at Griffin Park from 1904 before moving to the Brentford Community Stadium in 2020. Obviously, the new stadium. They got promoted. They did win the championship playoff, which was amazing, versus, I believe, Fulham. Their main rivals are fellow West London-based clubs Fulham and Queen's Park Raisins, famously coined by LVG. Shout out to Louis Van Gaal's Red Army. Brentford were relegated into the 4th tier in 1998 and won promotion as champions in the 1998-99 campaign. That is a hell of a yo-yo. And Brentford have a poor record in finals. We've gone through this record before. But yeah, an exciting promoted club. They do the A-B team. We've mentioned it before. It's kind of the Moneyball of football, where instead of having a youth academy, they actually have just a second team of adult players, and then they bring them in based on form. They play other clubs throughout Europe. It's a total different system than sort of the youth. Like obviously we're talking about the youth FA Cup, etc. So they do it completely different at Brentford, and it's working. They play the 5-3-2. They got the Danish manager. Obviously, Tony up top. You play FPL. You know who he is. Christian Eriksen, absolute legend. Talking about a Dane coming in for them. Has been absolutely lights out for them. This is a team that's playing well. Manchester United on the ropes. Can CR7, can David De Gea save us from Brentford?
And like you said, we have to get up for this game. They might not have much to play for, but if you remember the game at the Brentford Community Stadium, it got chippy. It wasn't even like a foregone conclusion. The 3-1 was actually a little bit flattering, and it went late. So they're going to come out and look to beat up a lackluster United side. I don't want to beat this United dog while it's down, but like we are not in great form. Missing a lot of players. What do you got? This guy's already playing the soundboard on me. What do I do?
Your lips are moving when you're complaining about something. That's whinging.
I'm not whinging. I'm just calling like I'm seeing it. We got to show up against Brentford, or otherwise we might continue to get embarrassed. Because I think we lost. Did we lose to Everton? Did that happen this season?
Yes. We lost to Fat Frank.
The Everton that is literally going to get fucking relegated for the first time in 70 years? Like,
yes.
Yeah. So
that's what they said in that.
I'm not whinging. I'm just calling like
United mental health. They said you need to watch Everton 1-0 again because you don't realize how bad we are.
Yeah, we're terrible. Like I said, I'm not whinging. We're terrible.
Look, you have to put an asterisk. We are terrible. We are without a large list of players. We are out with Fred, Sancho, Cavani, Wan-Bissaka, Luke Shaw, Paul Pogba, Harry Maguire. A lot of players out for Manchester United, and not a lot of options for Rangnick. You look at Telles and Dalot being like probably the biggest liabilities. You can't fix it. There's no solution. Tough spot for Manchester United.
But now is the point where Rangnick's off. He's off. He's got nothing to lose. We've got players. Here's the thing: is like there's a balance because they almost don't want to pull the Hannibals and the Garanchos and the Fernandezes off of the U23 side, because the U23 side and the U18s are doing great, unlike the first team. So I'd love to see Hannibal feature Garancho and the like, Hugo. But at some point, it's like, well, they're doing so good in the academy that they're fighting for real stuff, i.e. the Youth Cup. So there's that balance. I want to see some youngsters play. It's at Old Trafford. The season's gone. Let's see some players that we want to keep.
Look, people were slating Ralph for putting on Phil Jones and Mata. I don't like it, but there are not a lot of options. And the best way, I mean, if you look at the playbook to get youth involved at Manchester United, is you are winning big, and then you put them on. It's basically they get free runs. Put Garnacho on at like a 3-1 and let him out there. Throw the ball up to him, like see what happens. Like, that's how you introduce youth. You don't introduce youth when it's 1-1 and you need a result and then they can make an error and totally ruin their confidence, or you're trying to beat Brentford to get into Europa League. Unfortunately, the way the table's shaping up, there's stuff to play for. You got to play the senior players. An attack, like, it's just one of those things where it's a double-edged sword, right? Everyone wants to see the youngsters, but is it really worth it to play them right now? And look at our roster. Matic, McTominay, hey, maybe it's worth playing someone in there. Maybe it's worth Rashford. Maybe it's worth Garnacho up there. I just don't know these play. It depends on the player, right? Individuals are completely different as far as what they can handle confidence-wise. So, it could be it's a big spot. But look at Elanga, he's doing great.
He's playing for the badge, and he's certainly not embarrassing himself. I hear what you're saying, because you don't want to put a player in a position where they're totally going to knock their confidence, especially playing with these sad sack of losers. So I hear you. But who you got in your 11?
It's not like you got a great youth right back coming up. You know what I'm saying? Like
not in this current.
No, but
11.
In that situation where you're dying for someone else to play right back, like I could get something like that. But
you got a pretty good left back. The player that we poached from Real Madrid a couple years ago, I think Alvaro. He's solid. I mean, I'm not sure he's ready for the EPL, which is quite a step up. Brentford
no, but Sir Alex played kids when you're winning big.
I agree.
Or at the end of the season when you locked up the title and you got games left. Like that's literally it. And there's things to play for, so I don't think you play the kids. That's just the way it is. Unfortunately, it's shaping up that way. Alex, give me your lineup.
We got De Gea and net. Who else? I think AWB is going to be ready. I'm going to do Varane as center back pairings and do Lindelof as my left back. I'm going to Matic, McTominay. Who else we got? Bruno, Sancho. Maybe he makes it. Alanga and Ronaldo. Who you got?
I got Dave saves, world number 1 in net. I got the low, Lindelof, Varane, Telles. You can't change nothing about that. You got Matic, McTominay again, Bruno, Sancho, Elanga, Ronaldo. So very similar to yours. I'm not bold enough to play Lindelof out of position, but there's not a lot you can do, and that's really the problem. You have a team out of form, a lot of injuries, a lot of players don't want to play, and we look like a team where half the dressing room is leaving, and that's why I'm just trying not to just beat these players down over and over. Like, this team should look completely different next season. We got to just be able to accept where we are and then look to the future and be hopeful. I'm not saying you can't be skeptical of the Glazers and everything that's going to come. I'm saying we have to be hopeful that Ten Hag is going to be able to slap somebody around the training ground and get them to work hard, because he seems like that type of guy. Manchester United, our favorites, -140, draw +290. Brentford to win +370. What is your score prediction for Brentford at home?
Sir, it's going to be a barn burner. You're filling me with hope. I just can't help it now, sir. Can't help it. 3-2. Ronaldo hat trick. United going to win it. Beat the mighty Bees of London. What do you got?
I got 3-1 Brentford.
Oh, yeah.
3-1 Brentford.
I thought I was being dark.
I just
Quick pivot.
I've watched Everton 1-0 a few times, and I've accepted we're not good. And, as long as we go out there and try hard and we lose.
Which we won't.
I'll be happy. 8th place, here we come. No European football. We could use a season off. Let's go.
Guys, I know what you mean.
United in the news. We are destined for Europa Conference League. I'd be like, that's where you got to be thinking. We're going to be in Europa Conference League. Because that's what's just going to happen. All right. Ralph Rangnick. He's over United. He's going to Austria, man.
I'm out, bro.
Sky Sports. This has teeth. Austria's new manager announced the next 48 hours. He's been talking a lot of truth at Manchester United. You know what Manchester United doesn't like? Truth. He's been calling it out. He said it's easy to see what the issue is here. He's all but said it. This club needs open heart surgery. You can see what's wrong with it. The players are completely just at it. This club's a shambles. Absolutely a shambles. Paul Scholes said it. Lingard told him the dressing room is a mess. Everything at United is a mess. you knew when Rangnick started talking, he was talking for the next job. When he started talking, he's not saying anything controversial, but he's saying it way more than Ole would have ever said, right? Ole,
any of them,
Glazer. I like the only thing about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he's provided the board a lot of cover, and what does that get you? It gets you 10 million pounds.
And a boot up the door.
And you're hanging out at the women's academy and watching your daughter win the trophy, which is amazing, and that's great. But Rangnick ain't getting that. Right, Rangnick is telling it like it is. He's saying everything. It's clear as day what's going on at Manchester United, and he said things that clearly the board's uncomfortable with. And there's no way they're gonna let him speak like that and then stick around. I knew it in my heart,
of course.
And then, but the thing is, when
Why do you think
everyone
I
can
was so
see that, and then he's gonna he's going to the Austria. He should be literally the director of football.
Of course he should. This is why I was so fucking pissed off at the beginning of the pod. You think I give a shit about the performance against Chelsea? I knew that this season's over, bro. This is what I'm fucking furious about, because this is madness. This is madness, sir. If you have a man who came in, has rebuilt club after club, and you come to a club that is in desperate need to be rebuilt, and like you said, dude, he doesn't throw people under the bus like Mourinho, or just say insane shit like LVG or Ole, just nonsense of covering for the board. He's just shot it straight, one bow after bow over the bow, over and over again, bro. He has not missed a fucking beat. And then what are they going to do? They're going to like throw him out the front door. Baby with the bathwater, bro. And this is insane because they don't want to learn. Like you said, he should have Richard Murtaugh's job, because Richard Murtaugh is not qualified to be the director of football of Everton or MK Dons, bro. He's never done the job before.
Richard Arnold and John Murtaugh had a child called Richard Murtaugh.
They might as well have. Ed, Judge, Murtaugh, Glazer, whatever, bro.
Yeah,
they're part of the same amalgamation of just shitty owners and management.
I bet you Rickles, he's a director of football. He can handle Richard Murtaugh.
The point of the matter is, like, this should not be allowed to happen. He should be having the head job in terms of football godfather at Manchester United, and he's showing the boot. And that's why I'm mad. That's why I'm worried about Eric. I'm supporting Eric. I'm hopeful, just like you, brother. But at the end of the day, this is very, very worrisome. And this just tells you nothing's changed because the Glazers are still in charge. And new Ed Woodward, named Richard Arnold, I think I got his name right that time, is the CEO. So they're still going to act the same. There is no revolution coming. There is no evolution coming. It's just more same shit, bro. That's why I was pissed. That's why I'm still pissed, because this should not be allowed to happen.
This is a, we always say you got to read the tea leaves. You're at the blackjack table. They just turned over the card. I mean, you're seeing this right here, 100%, black and white, Rangnick board. I bet you it's not like no communicado.
Nada.
You could tell.
Nada.
I really do think that there was a period of time where he came in and probably like fought it a little bit. Like we talked about that period, 2 to 3 weeks, the leak and everything. And then he started being like, why is this Fletcher guy here? He started calling out like Martial, Lingard, what's going on? He kind of like grabbing for straws, like something like he looked like a man trying to like tell you like, help. This place is a mess. And it's clear. And so like he finally got far enough down that road where he just said it's open heart surgery, etc. Like the last 2 weeks, he's been really
savage.
And because he knows there's nothing for him here, basically. This is it. And if you're going to, this club can't take criticism. And you know why? It's like they don't want to look themselves in the mirror and want accountability. You look at Harry Maguire, the way he dealt with that Sky Sports interview is the same thing. They're thin-skinned. They're more worried about the spin on how they look than actually figuring out how to play football, actually looking themselves in the mirror, figuring out what they need to fix. That's the number one way to be a CEO, is you had to be accountable, right? Instead of lie. So you can polish something up a little bit, try to sell something like we're really trying on this transition, etc. But like the way that they try to cover it up is incredible. Everyone can see what's going on with this team. You look at Ralph Rangnick, and to have him be going shows you like, oh, he's still going to do the role.
No, he ain't.
That's PR.
Yeah, he ain't doing shit, bro. He's out.
No, but that's the PR part of it is like,
consultant. What's a consultant, sir?
This is how you have to look at how deep the tentacles go, because it's like, clearly they don't want him around. Go do the Austria job, but then we need to tell everyone you're still going to be the consultant.
So we'll pay you
exactly
to say that you're still involved.
Yeah,
so we don't look like
basically
fucking idiots.
So, and also he's come out in all other press saying,
never talked.
He hasn't spoke to Ten Hag. He's not writing up any report to give to Ten Hag or the board. He's not giving them an assessment of the club. Like this is he's going to be a consultant, so he doesn't have he should be giving them basically a whole list of every player, who they should keep, who they shouldn't keep. He's not doing that. He's not in communication with the board as far as I know. He's basically come out and said, I'm not doing that. I haven't talked to Ten Hag. If he wants to talk to me, I'm happy to talk to him. So he's saying there's nothing there. This is he's literally interim manager. Thanks, you're out. We don't care about your opinions at all. And Ten Hag's a new guy. That's literally how Rangnick's being treated. And we said the board will bottle this one. We said if they didn't bottle it and they did move him upstairs to DOF and then hire Erik Ten Hag, then there could be something here. But they're just doing the same thing over and over. So that's why I said you got to be cautious. I have to watch 50+ Manchester United games a year. So the fact Erik Ten Hag's coming in and he's going to be a little more stern with these players and try to get more out of them, I'm excited about that. The board, all these numpties and this bullshit, I hate this shit. You know I don't like it, but I'm going to try to hope that Erik Ten Hag can get this team playing better because Jesus Christ, this is horrific we've seen this season.
Yeah, I'm of course going to support the lads. I'm trying to be hopeful, but it's the solution fell in their fucking lap and they're destined to not even follow the advice in front of them. He just keeps saying stuff, exposing what they need to fix, and they cannot acknowledge mistakes. They've never acknowledged that they're making mistakes. They won't look themselves in the mirror like you said. And the craziest thing they can do is throw not Erik Ten Hag, Ralph Rangnick out the door, bro. It's this guy is the godfather of German football.
Well, maybe he wanted to leave because it's so bad.
No, they are not talking to him, like you said. So they have not talked to him once. He keeps acknowledging that. He's I haven't spoken to the board. I have, they don't want to hear from him because they want to hear from Darren Fletcher, what Darren Fletcher has to say about how well the club is doing, sir. Talking about the spin zone.
Why did Ole Gunnar Solskjaer get all that money and last that long at Manchester United?
Spin zone, maybe.
Cover for the board.
What's Fletcher doing?
Look, by the way, you look at the protest shouts in 1958 today, cover on NBC. Look, I hate NBC LFC. For some reason, about covering Manchester United, they like the Glazers out stuff. They cover it. They did a good job at covering it. Arlo White, I can't believe I'm saying it. They cover the protest. They do a good job about talking about the ownership. They talked about the empty seats. They did discuss that quite a bit. That's the best thing I've said about them in a long time. And I bet you that matters more to the Glazers than figuring it out with Ralph Rangnick. And a lot of what Ralph Rangnick's saying is motivating the fans to kind of maybe I'm obviously Glazers out. I know what's going on at the club, but maybe seeing Ralph Rangnick look so lost and this team playing this way and looking just like a complete mess really shows and exposes the board and Ed Woodward for everything that they are, which is basically draining this club of its soul. And that is why they don't want him around, because they don't need that attitude of somebody saying this is rough.
So you think they watched the game today? No fucking way. You're in there sitting around East Coast time, 3 p.m. watching huge games.
They see it on social.
No, they're not following nothing. Dude. They don't watch Sky Sports. They don't follow.
When they're talked about that way for that long, the noise around the ownerships is rising.
Unless
the Stretford end is rising. Love United, hate Glazer chant going on during the game. The protest every game by the 1958. This is just the beginning, and it is happening. And if you look at this club and you see the fans starting to protest and you see it, they're doing a great job at it. The coverage heating up. Next step is cameras in Florida. It is happening, and they're the reason why this club's a rudderless ship. And this is probably why the Ralph Rangnick's not going to be a part of it, because they don't want anyone who's going to increase the scrutiny. They don't want someone who's going to come in and say the party line all day, every day. They had that with Ole. And how is Ten Hag going to do? We haven't talked about that. Is he going to be a real deal Holyfield? Who knows? Who knows? I mean, the new manager buys him a little bit of cover, right?
For now, but this crew of bluffers, they're not going to play for the man. And at the end of the day, it's big moves are going to be had. They need to ship players. They need to buy players. They need to figure out the renewals. And we have a very, very incompetent front office. So you could talk about Paul Mitchell. You could talk about Erik Ten Hag. But you need, and who's talked about this? Ralph is you need a whole footballing operation, top-class people across the board. And we don't have that, dude. Darren Fletcher is not qualified for his job. He's qualified to be an assistant coach, maybe. He's not qualified to be technical director. Richard Arnold is not qualified to be the CEO of this. Matt Judge is not qualified to do contract negotiations, do player buys, player sales. And John Murtaugh is not qualified to be DOF. So none of them are qualified. So you could have a great manager, but if you have all the pieces around them run by people who do not deserve to be there, dude, he's going to fail, bro.
But then who puts them in that position? And then who
Glazers.
sanctions?
You have to get rid of the Glazers.
Exactly.
So until we get rid of the Glazers, they're not watching social, bro.
Yeah, but as a
these
fan,
old fuckers are not on Twitter.
No,
you don't think they're not on Twitter, sir.
If you own a club and then the fans start protesting every home game, and then you see fans not in the seats, and then you see big Glazers out signs everywhere around the stadium, it is heating up. This is all I'm saying is this is a movement, and it's beginning, and it's a snowball at the top of the mountain. It's gaining steam, and it's going to run right through the summer. I told you this could be a shit summer. We're not going to make Champions League. We do not have a lot of money. There's not a lot of room to work here. A lot of players leaving on freeze. Their net spend is going to be very disappointing. Ten Hag is literally going to have to eat the shit burger and deal with a lot. Delo, Tellis, you and me talk about it. Yeah, these players are gone. They ain't.
Maguire.
You can't sell Delo for nothing. You can't sell Tellis for nothing. You can't sell Maguire for nothing.
AWB.
They're here. They're here. And Ten Hag's got to swallow that pill, deal with what he's got, try to get the best out of him possible, and then play for the next transfer window so the Glazers can just kick the can, keep kicking the can, and do it bit by bit. That is where we're at. At a certain point, you need to accept it, but you have to turn the focus to the ownership because #Glazers out all day. That is what this is about. We backed the 1958 100%, and I'm glad the momentum is growing there because at the end of the day, we can whinge about Arnold, Murtaugh, Judge, all of them, but the reason why they're protected and they have cover is because of the board, and the Glazers gots to go. It's the only way to save this club. Even Eric Ten Hag can't save us. It's like the fans have to save us, and the only way we're going to speak to the Glazers is hit them in their pocketbook, and fans need to be coordinated online and figure out how to do so. Like you said, they might not care about the protests before the game or the coverage or the social media. Fine. Hit them in the pocketbook. It's the only thing they understand. It's coming. We saw the TeamViewer sponsor.
Who?
I mean,
who?
You go from
TeamViewer.
Chevrolet,
Unbelievable.
Big money. The money was it's
on our
starting to
sleeve?
happen.
Who's on our sleeve?
This is like erosion. That you can't be this bad for that long and then have big names come up try to sponsor you. The commercial side of the business is going to start to be affected. It takes longer. It's going to happen. The Glazers got to go. That's all we have. I mean, that's really the news. You had another article here is talking about. This is from some ESPN article. United want evolution, not revolution, under Ten Hag. I mean, this was
basically a counter after Rangnick made the open heart surgery about how drastic the change was needed, and they're basically no. It's just a little tweak. We just need a little tweak. That's why we've blown through $1 billion and a player that cost £90 million leaving for a free, and a player that cost £80 million.
Well, that's why
isn't even fit to start for the academy.
Look, Ed Woodward. We talked about Ed Woodward, Neil Ashton, PR Spin Zone. We've been talking. This is like the apparatus of Manchester United is literally what Ed Woodward left over a decade. Thin skin, spin everything, have journo plants in the press, and write what you want, which is basically saying the guy who's an expert in football, the godfather of the Gegenpress, is literally like, we need open heart surgery. This team is fucked. And then ESPN's like, Rob Dawson and ESPN's like, no. It's not that
evolution,
bad.
Not revolution.
So who are you going to believe, dude? It's like obviously Rangnick. Rangnick also commented on how the players should vote on Harry Maguire as a captain. I mean, who's staying, who's going? I mean, at the end of the day, Ten Hag will decide who the captain is. And then Paul Scholes talked to Lingard. He says basically it's an absolute mess.
We got Keane. That should give us a little divergence. I need a little. He'll make us laugh.
All right,
he'll make us feel
Roy
better.
Keane on the Chelsea match. Let's see what he has to say.
You've seen lost causes. Dude, when they haven't got the ball, they run him back as
Oh my God, here we go.
fast as they can.
Fernandes doesn't do it, Jamie. Fernandes doesn't get the ball back for you. No one mentions him about maybe will he miss out. Rashford doesn't do nowhere enough. Sometimes they close him down, but they're not really going after it. They're kind of just going through the motions. We saw that again tonight. We saw the amount of chances that Chelsea were creating. Players going through the motions. Yeah, we'll go. Man City is an example. In Liverpool, they hunt in packs. They hunt with hunger. The real desire was United. We saw tonight. The evidence is there.
Does that also come from organisation, though? From
a bit
team
of that,
structure?
of course. Yeah. That all comes into the mix, and that's where the new manager has to come in and start saying whatever about the individual good qualities. We have to work as a team. We have to have everyone working together. There's no point in one closing down the other, because the top teams will play through you. And the evidence has been there all season for Man United. Throughout the season, when United are out of possession, every team, and I mean not just the good teams, even the lesser teams, are creating so many chances against United. It's not good enough.
Is this midfield need a rebuild as well?
Everything, yeah. Don't get me started on the midfield. Midfield, I think defensively, I'm still happy with the goalkeeper. A couple of players up front. Huge.
It's a young man's game now. And you're looking at United, we've ended up with Juan Mata and Matic in and around that area. Things are going to change. Those two players are leaving. What are they going to bring in? That's what Man United fans are going to be keen to know. Who does he like? What sort of player is he going to identify to come and make this a better team? But midfield has to be an area, because they get out. Even when they play, people say, I play the system with two defence. Even today, first, I've got two defensive midfield players. I've never seen a team look so open. So if you're going to play that way and have two defensive midfield...
I mean, open heart surgery. It's literally what Ralph Rangnick is, the canary in the coal mine. He is telling you, he deserves, Ralph Rangnick deserves
Shout out.
respect.
Big respect
for that at the end of the day, because he's calling it like he sees it, and good on him, because it's open heart surgery. As a fan, it's been a hell of a... I was listening to some interviews with Alex Ferguson after his book. What was it? Leading. You recently read it. He does an interview. He just says it. Manager has to have all the control. Manager has to have all the control. As soon as the players don't think the manager has control, you won't see Manchester United again. He said it's just over. He says it's over 100%.
Player can't be bigger than the team, or the team.
No, but who has the control?
So and who lost the control after the Pogba Jose split?
No, but it's the way I thought about what he said was, as soon as the players realize the managers have the control, this team will be unrecognizable. So who had the control for the last 10 years? Ed Woodward. So he decided to side with Paul Pogba, but clearly the CEO had all the control, and the manager was just somebody who the players knew had no control. And if you look at Rangnick, he has no control, and these players, and that we don't look like Manchester United. So when Sir Alex Ferguson retired, he literally said that as soon as the players know the manager has no control, you will not see a football team out there. And that's what, and that's what Ed Woodward created.
That's what Ed Woodward created, right? He appointed Moyes, gave him no power, made no signings, literally signed nobody, and fired him after 10 months, brought in LVG, gave him more money than he needed, signed all these fucking terrible players, sacked him after he won a silverware, brought in Jose, backed him half the time, didn't go all the way. Sir, you're having the CEO who has no idea what he's doing.
Yeah, but why does Mata get a new
PwC
deal?
accountant, because he's the one giving out the contracts.
Exactly. That's how they know who has the control. Why does Mata get a new deal?
Nothing's going to change under Eric Ten Hag, brother.
That's my
the
point.
same thing.
Is that Sir Alex Ferguson, obviously could tell you a little bit about him, but I'm sure you already know. He's told the board, and even in the interview, I'll clip it. I'll play it here on the next pod. He says, "I've told the board this." They know that basically, as soon as the players know the manager isn't 100% in control, it is all gone. And we have seen that completely at Manchester United. It is so obvious who gives the deals out. Philly Jones gets a deal. Smalling doesn't. Mata gets a deal. Ed Woodward and him are buddies. And so everyone knows the guy who's in control is the CEO, and that CEO was Ed Woodward. So then they know they don't need to work for the manager. And then, by the way, you look at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer being the manager of Manchester United. He didn't have any control at all. Ed Woodward loved Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He said all the nice things in the press, allowed him to pull the strings. All the players knew they didn't need to run for him. And that's why you have the situation you have now. But what's amazing is that the greatest manager of all time told the board the instructions on how to run this place, and they didn't listen. And Ed Woodward didn't listen. And now Richard Arnold isn't going to listen. And we're just making the same mistake. So as soon as the manager, look, and also the real comparison is you look at Pep Guardiola, who has the control at Man City? Who has it? Pep. Pep's bigger than City.
Same with Liverpool.
You look at Klopp.
They just renewed his contract today.
Klopp has all the power. He has all the power. He's bigger than Liverpool. 100%. He has all the leverage. And those teams, how do they play? It is the way it is.
But they also have top-class recruiting. They have a director of football who's an actual director of football.
I understand that, but you got to get back to like why do because the players know Jurgen Klopp calls his shots at the shit box. You know what I'm saying? And Pep Guardiola does. And the players know the buck stops with him. And they know that if they don't listen to him, they out. And at Ajax, Ten Hag had that. And if he doesn't have it at Manchester United, that's a big component we don't talk about. And that's a big foreshadowing that Sir Alex Ferguson said it. And you look at who's successful and who's not.
So they have a CEO who's more qualified than our CEO. And he's a former player. So, like, this club doesn't want to listen. They don't want to look themselves in the mirror and see the hard truths, because the hard truths are this club needs a total rebuild. You have stumbled upon one of the greatest club builders of the modern era. Just as like a technical guy, top level, you would be fucking mad not to give Ralph Rangnick a 4-year contract as a director of football with complete autonomy.
Yes.
You'd be mad. Dude, they'll never get better because Eric Ten Hag is going to be the same thing. Richard Arnold is going to be making all the calls, bro.
Yeah, but that's what I'm trying to say is looking at where the control lies, and clearly at a certain point, and this is where you look at the board and their decision making, and you say, okay, Ed Woodward at a certain point was doing good on the commercial side of the business. Now, you can say how hard that is or not to wear out Manchester United as a brand. Either way, he was growing revenue like the Glazers wanted him, but he wasn't doing well on the footballing side. So at a certain point, the decision would be to separate the commercial side from footballing operations, put Ralph Rangnick in charge of footballing operations and give him autonomy, which would be a negotiated budget, and he does whatever he wants, and the board isn't going to restrict him at all. And then you evaluate him on the results completely. Now, compartmentalizing this management of the team is what was needed at a certain point, and we've never done that, and we're getting the same thing now. And so when you ask where does the control lie, it lies with Richard Arnold, and the next manager is going to be subject to this same system, and it doesn't serve other.
I thought you were the hopeful one. I thought you were the hopeful one, sir. You started out hopeful. Now you start to feel like
no. I'm talking about the system of how that's like the control element of a manager who players don't want to play for.
We are destined to fail under the current structure. It doesn't matter what manager you bring in, because if ultimately the CEO,
if he's not backed, and the point about being backed is we don't know if Ten Hag is going to be backed, right? So we need to wait for the summer. We need to see how it goes. And yeah, if Eric Ten Hag is eating a shitburger and playing Tell Us and Delo, we'll know. We'll know where it is. And that's just the way it's going to be, sir. That's it. That's the podcast. The American Red Devils, we whinged. We were hopeful. We did everything in between. It has been a rough year.
It's a schizo pod. You were hopeful an hour ago. And you realized that by going through the news, we are fucked.
It's just this. Okay, I'm hopeful.
It's very fixable. It's all so
Ten
fixable.
Hag down, I'm hopeful. Ten Hag up, I don't trust him. Farther than I can throw him. And Richard Arnold, looks like I can't throw him very far. If you like the podcast, you like American Red Devils, join our Discord. There's an invite on our website, www.americanreddevils.com. Check out our blog content. Check out our story. This guy feels bad for Richard Arnold. Start a Richard Arnold podcast.
This guy's throwing sand, bro. I thought you're the hopeful one.
I never said I liked Richard Arnold. Support the podcast. Write a review on iTunes, wherever you listen. Sir, give us our top 10 downloads last 7 days.
Number one, how you doing? How you doing? Fort Collins, Colorado, Pittsburgh, PA, Philly, PA, Charlotte, North Carolina, Suita, Japan, Kearney, Nebraska, Nantucket, Massachusetts, Buffalo, New York, San Antonio, Texas, and last but not least, Douglasville, Georgia. Appreciate all the American Devils listening week in, week out. Couldn't do it without you, sir.
If you're listening to this podcast, you're the real MVP. I mean, what a... Oh, we didn't even do the fan questions. Come on. Oh, how did I forget this? At Rolling the Deep, 1995. We're going to do it live, sir. Quote, as expected, nothing spectacular from a team with no mentality. Got absolutely slapped around by Chelsea, but escaped with a draw thanks to the GOAT. Sadly, just looking forward to the end of the season where all the dead weight can be cut. Be careful. We need some dead weight next season, and we're not going to do that much. At Ty Kircher, quietest I can recall O2 with fans. Great point. Even at the final whistle, everyone is resigned with polite claps. Everyone in that organization is over the season, and it shows. It's true. No real effort or nothing has changed for months. Sans CR7, we're almost in this season. Nearly there, sirs. At M. Hersey, whatever, back to work. I think that sums it up pretty much.
That's how I felt.
At United Dondo, here a little hopeful. We tied. Our last 2 goals have come from Matic passing to Ronaldo. These are some old goals. We need a little younger, need players a little younger to contribute positively. I asked respectively. Shout out PJ for making an appearance. And then SS Graki 17. Ronaldo is our team.
I like that Tyler knows. Only 3 more left, thankfully. That's how I feel. Let's just put a knife in the season. It's been a brutal watch. But hopeful for the future. Hopeful for the UEFA Youth Cup coming up in a couple of weeks, sir. That's a big game for the youngsters.
That is going to be awesome. We are going to cover that here on the podcast. You got to be excited about what you can. And a Ronaldo banger to get a draw against the Chelsea scum might not matter, but you got to be a little hopeful. And then obviously you get into the board and it just, I'm back to whinging. You know how it is. All right, we're going to leave you with the song of the season, Viva Ronaldo. Enjoy it. Everyone have a great week. On to Brentford. Let's go. Oh.